नमस्कार प्यारे बच्चों, माई सेल्फ DN तिवारी, PGT इकोनॉमिक्स, जवाहर नवोदय विद्यालय कानपुर बिहार. Dear students, today we are going to teach central problems of an economy. We know that our desires are unlimited. We know that our desires are repeatable. At the same time, the resources through which we can satisfy these desires are very scarce. They are very limited. They are not only limited, but also they are having alternative uses. So that's why we have to face a number of problems, and these things are going to be studied in today's class. Actually, every economy has so many questions to solve. Some of the questions arises before the economy again and again, while some of the questions arises before the economy once or twice. So what we have to do is to study a lot in detail about these central problems. So first of all, we will discuss what are we going to study in today's class in detail. First of all, we have to make choice in our day-to-day life. So we have to study why do we have to make this choice. Secondly, we know that resources are very scarce and these resources are having alternative uses. Don't worry, we are going to study in detail about both the nature of scarcity as well as alternative uses of the resources. Dear students, then we will come on central problems which are to be faced by every economy of the world. Resources allocation has been a great challenge for every economy. This we have to study in detail. Then growth of economy and growth of resources nowadays have become a very important problem which we have to face. Now, PPC, P.A. Samuelson, a great economist, he propounded the concept of PPC to solve central problems of an economy. We will have to study this also. Different types of economies, say capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy, how they are going to interact, how they are going to solve a basic economic problem. This we have to study in detail. Dear students, then many more interesting stories are going to come while this interaction between you and me. We all know basic economic problem is the problem of choice. Why? Because there is a big gap between the demand for resources and supply of resources. We know that demand aspect of resources are always more than that of the supply aspect of resources. Let us have a deep look into these concepts. Why demand aspect is heavier than the supply aspect of resources? Because human desires are unlimited, they are uncountable. At the same time, most of these desires repeat themselves. Of course, unlimited desires and repeatable desires. On the other hand, the resources through which we can satisfy these desires are very scarce in form, and moreover, they are having alternative uses also. So, as a result of the imbalance between the demand and supply aspect of resources, we have to prepare a scale of preferences, which is known as problem of choice. Let us further move into this concept. What is scarcity? Now, First of all, our desires are unlimited. We have to fulfill the need of food, clothing, shelter, security, comfort, medicine, jewelry, affection, transportation, good health, children, variety in diets, knowledge, convenience, recognition. We are having a number of problems, desires which are to be fulfilled. These desires are unlimited, and you can see some of them, most of the desires are repeating themselves. You require food again and again, you require clothing again and again, you require shelter again and again. So human desires are unlimited. I told you our fooding is needed every day, twice or thrice. Lodging, naturally you have to have a house where you can live at least. Then clothing is the need of the day, need of everyone, and you can see these desires are repeating themselves again and again. Then production, consumption, investment. Naturally, if you want to fulfill your desires, these economic activities are also to be conducted again and again. And very interesting fact is that these desires are not only scarce, but resources through which we can satisfy these desires are very scarce. Interestingly, not only they are scarce, but they are having alternative uses. They can be used in so many desires. For example, if we take the example of land, land can be used for agricultural purpose, it can be used for road construction purpose, factories can be built, then schools can be opened, shops can be made, then housing can be made, and there are a number of unlimited uses of land. So electricity, which is a very important element of today's life, can be used in different ways. You can use electricity to run domestic appliances. You can use this electricity to run your machineries in factories. Running vehicles is possible. Then your TV, fridge, AC, everything requires. Then irrigation, you require electricity again. So if we talk about water, we can see it can be used for drinking, can be used for generating electricity, it can be used for boating, irrigation, irrigating the farms, fisheries and all. So if we take the simple three resources, we see each and every resource can be used in different ways. Let us discuss what can be the alternative uses of the following items. A bus can be used in a school, by a factory, company. Then it can be used by roadways. So many uses are there of bus. When we talk about a room, it can be used for teaching purpose. It can be used for residence purpose. It can be used for so many other purposes. Similarly, buildings and computers are having so many uses. Those uses you require to be used. Let us discuss a story, very interesting story of माहिम. माहिम एक रायपुर नामक गांव में अपने पिता रंगीलाल के साथ रहता था. एक दिन शाम को काम से वापस आने पर उसके पिता ने कहा, बेटा आज मैं बहुत खुश हूँ. आज मेरे मालिक ने काम से खुश होकर मुझे 200 रुपए इनाम में दिए हैं और वापस आते समय शर्मा जी की दुकान पर मैंने एक लाल रंग का शर्ट देखा है, उसकी कीमत 200 रुपए है. ये लो पैसे, जाओ और अगर तुमको पसंद आए तो खरीद लो. माहिम ने पैसा लिया, दुकान पे जाकर दुकानदार को 200 रुपए दिए, शर्ट लेकर वापस आ गया। अब इसमें अगर हम देखें, माहिम को शर्ट खरीदने में किन किन समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ा। देखिए, माहिम के सामने कोई समस्या नहीं थी, क्यों नहीं थी? उसकी एक ही इच्छा पूरी होनी थी, उचित मात्रा में मुद्रा भी, उसकी कीमत भी उसके पास थी, और उस मुद्रा का वैकल्पिक प्रयोग भी नहीं। कारण उसके पिताजी का आदेश था कि इस 200 रुपए से आपको वही लाल रंग की शर्ट खरीद के लानी। मतलब उसके सामने कोई विकल्प नहीं था। अगर लाल रंग की शर्ट की जगह वो कुछ और करके आता तो निश्चित रूप से अपने पिता से डांट। क्या होता यदि माहिम के पापा उसको रुपया देकर कहते, बेटा जाओ और अपनी इच्छा अनुसार खर्च करो। अब क्या हुआ? माहिम दुकान पर पहुंचा, सभी सामानों पर अब नजर डालेगा क्योंकि भैया पैसा उसके पास है। अब वो सोच में पड़ जाता है कि मुझे चॉकलेट भी खानी है, टॉफी भी 20 रुपए की लेनी है, मुझे एक स्केल लेना है क्योंकि मुझे काम आएगा, सर ने कहा है। देन कॉपी भी मुझे उसको लेनी थी, उसको 150 रुपए की किताब भी लेनी थी, 200 रुपए की शर्ट जो उसके पापा ने कहा दिखाया था, 20 रुपए का उसके पास पेन लेना था, और 30 रुपए वाला उसे। अब देखिए उसके पास थे 200 रुपए और उसकी इच्छाएं कितनी है? 50, 20, 70, 30, 100, देन अगेन 20, 120, देन 150, 280 हो गए, 10, 200, 480 हो गए, प्लस 20, 500 हो गया, प्लस 30, टोटल उसके पास 530 रुपए की। अब उसके पास डिजायर है 530 रुपए की और रुपया है उसके पास 200 रुपए। नाउ अब उसके सामने बताइए किन किन समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ रहा है उसे बेचारे को। वही 200 रुपए पहले भी थे, वही 200 रुपए अब है। पहली बात तो अब उसे चेन की समस्या करनी पड़ेगी। उसे पता है 530 रुपए का सामान तो वही 200 रुपए में भी खरीद पाएगा। अब उसको चुनना पड़ेगा किसको छोड़ू किसको पकड़ू। देन संसाधनों का वैकल्पिक प्रयोग है। उसे पता है कि इस 200 रुपए का हमारे वैकल्पिक प्रयोग है, मैं अपनी इच्छा अनुसार सामान खरीद सकता हूँ। अब ऐसी स्थिति में आप देखेंगे कि संसाधनों की दुर्लभता की समस्या भी है, चयन की समस्या भी है, और संसाधनों के वैकल्पिक प्रयोग की समस्या भी है। ये तीनों समस्याएं अब उसके पास आ गई थी। अब इससे क्या सीखा जाता है? सभी केंद्रीय समस्याएं प्रमुख आर्थिक समस्या की यानी कि चयन की समस्या के कारण। अब सारी केंद्रीय समस्याएं, सभी प्रकार की आर्थिक समस्याओं का जन्म चयन की समस्या से होता है। चयन क्यों करना है? क्योंकि हमारी इसका मांग पक्ष ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है पूर्ति पक्ष से। मांग क्यों स्ट्रांग है ये भी हमने आपको बताया। हमारी डिजायर्स अनलिमिटेड है and most of the desires are repeatable. At the same time, we find supply is very scarce, very less, and then they are having alternatives. तो इनके कारण आपको चयन करना पड़ता है। अब चयन के कारण बाकी समस्याओं का जन्म होता है। यही हम इस फ्लो चार्ट के माध्यम से पढ़ेंगे। बेसिक इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम इज नथिंग बट प्रिपरेशन ऑफ स्केल ऑफ प्रेफरेंसेस। दैट इज, आपको पता है सारी डिजायर्स आप पूरी नहीं कर सकते, आपको प्रेफरेंसेस देने पड़ेंगे कि पहले हम ये खरीदेंगे, दूसरे नंबर पे ये, तीसरे नंबर पे ये, चौथे नंबर पे ये, पांचवें नंबर। So you have to prepare a scale of preference. Only then you can come up with a problem. Then economic problem to be faced by each and every economy of the world. These problems are to be faced by each and every economy of the world, whether आपका कंट्री रिच है, पुअर कंट्री है, डेवलप्ड है और डेवलपिंग है, कैपिटलिस्ट है, सोशलिस्ट है या मिक्स है। Every economy has to face these problems. So problems to be faced by each and every economy of the world are known as central problems. So we can conclude that basic economic problem, that is problem of choice, is the mother of all the central problems. First of all, if we talk about central problems, I told you these are the problems to be faced by each and every economy of the world, regardless of the status, regardless of the stage of development, regardless of the per capita income. Then, if you want to classify these problems, we can classify them into three basic categories. Problem of allocation of resources, problem of efficient utilization of resources, and problem of growth of resources. Dear students, when we talk about problem of allocation of resources, here we want to define the use of the available scarce resources. So first of all, we have to decide which commodities are to be produced and in what quantity, because we know that we cannot produce the entire, we cannot produce the demand of the entire economy. So we have to decide which commodities are to be produced and of course in what quantity. Then secondly, how to produce, it is nothing but the problem of choice of technology. Then coming on, third central problem is for whom to produce, it is nothing but the problem of distribution of national product. Actually, when we talk about original economists, they have told us about these three central problems only. But as an Indian, we know that problems can be enhanced. So we have extended even central problems of an economy from 3 to 5. Then, what does economists say about GDP? Let us see. Mr. P.A. Samuelson. Then you can see Mr. K.S. Mill and Mr. Marshall, Alfred Marshall. So an economy also confronts three central fundamental problems: what goods and services shall be produced and in what quantities, how shall goods and services be produced, for whom goods and services are to be produced. So basically these three central problems are propounded by these basic economics, original economists. Now the question is, what goods and services shall be produced and in what quantity? This is going to be the first challenge. Every society may face similar problems of choice. However, the priorities may be different. Definitely, priorities may be different. In LDCs, less developed countries, we have to make choice between food crop and manufacture of bicycles. We are more in need of food crop than bicycles. In developed countries, choice is shifted from their necessities to the luxury. So choice between building more shopping malls or producing more cars. So resources are to be allocated in different ways, but every economy has to face problem of choice. And this problem of choice may be different. The second question comes before every economy is, how shall goods and services be produced? It is related to the method by which these are to be produced. Once you decided these goods are to be produced by the economy, so you have to think about how to produce. What tools are needed? How much land and how many workers are needed? There are so many different ways to make it. For example, clothes can be made by employing more labor and less machine, or by employing more machinery, less labor. So basically we can say that it is nothing but the problem of choice of technology. If goods and services are produced by employing more of labor and less of capital, more labor, less capital, it is called as labor intensive technology. And if you employ more capital and less labor, it will be known as capital intensive technology. So these two types of technology are there. आइए माहिम के गांव में एक बार फिर चलते हैं. माहिम के गांव में क्योंकि कोविड-19 का पीरियड तो पूरे वर्ल्ड में चल रहा है, नेचुरल माहिम के गांव से कैसे अछूता रह सकता है। आइए देखते हैं वहां क्या होता है। एक दिन शाम को ग्राम प्रधान के आंगन में ग्राम सभा की बैठक बुलाई गई। सभी सदस्यों के अलावा इस मीटिंग में बाकी कोई भी आना चाहे तो आ सकता था, इसलिए लगभग सभी प्रमुख लोग आ गए। इस मीटिंग में जो मुख्य समस्या थी, एक तो गांव में बेरोजगारी बढ़ गई थी, पीने के पानी की कमी थी और कोरोना जैसी महामारी के कारण एक तो बेरोजगारी में और इजाफा हो गया था, साथ ही कोरोना से बचने के उपाय का भी हमें उस गांव में बताना था। तो जागृति के लिए भी इसकी जरूरत थी। गांव के सचिव ने बताया कि अभी मनरेगा में काफी राशि बची हुई है, क्योंकि महामारी के कारण किसी प्रोजेक्ट में काम नहीं हुआ है। रंगीलाल, बताइए रंगीलाल कौन थे? रंगीलाल माहिम के पिताजी का नाम है। सुझाव दिया कि क्यों ना इस राशि का प्रयोग एक करके एक तालाब तथा हैंडपंप की बोरिंग कराई जाए, तालाब खुदाया जाए, हैंडपंप की बोरिंग कराई जाए जगह जगह, ताकि लोगों को रोजगार भी मिल जाए और साथ ही पानी की समस्या भी कम हो जाए। कीर्तन हो रहा था। रेती राम नाम के एक नवयुवक भी उस मीटिंग में थे। उन्होंने कहा कि ये काम हम जेसीबी मशीनों का प्रयोग करके भी कर सकते हैं, सस्ता पड़ेगा और जल्दी भी काम हो जाएगा। अब एक अजीब सी शांति सभा में दिखाई पड़ी। इस मशीन के प्रयोग से बेरोजगारी पर तो कोई फायदा नहीं होने वाला था, बेरोजगारी तो जैसे की तक बनी रहती। अब प्रधान जी का नंबर था। प्रधान जी ने कहा सरकार चाहती है कि मनरेगा से रोजगार के साथ साथ स्थानीय संसाधनों का विकास हो। ऐसा तभी हम कर सकते हैं जब मनरेगा में जो राशि है उससे हम गांव के लोगों को रोजगार भी दें और साथ ही संसाधन का विकास भी करें, तालाब भी बनाए। तो मनरेगा की राशि का प्रयोग सर्वसम्मति से प्रस्ताव पारित हो गया और मनरेगा और गांव में तालाब खोलने लगे। क्या शिक्षा मिलती है इस कहानी से? वास्तव में श्रम प्रधान तकनीकी का चयन किया गया, क्या ये उचित था? अब देखिए, आर्थिक पहलू अगर से देखा जाए तो आर्थिक पहलू की अगर हम बात करें तो ये उचित नहीं था, क्योंकि इसमें ज्यादा संसाधन लगे, आवश्यकता से ज्यादा अधिक संसाधन लगे। लेकिन अगर हम कल्याणकारी दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो कल्याणकारी दृष्टिकोण से देखें या योजना बनी है, योजना आधारित दृष्टिकोण से देखें तो ये उचित निर्णय था, क्योंकि मनरेगा का जो बेसिक सिद्धांत यही है कि गांव के लोगों को, बेरोजगारों को रोजगार मिले और साथ ही संसाधनों का, लोकल संसाधनों का विकास हो। ऐसा करने के लिए इससे अच्छा रास्ता कोई नहीं। इसी प्रकार इसी नीति का पालन कर महानगरों क्या इसी नीति का पालन महानगरों में किया जा सकता है? महानगर में भी पानी की समस्या है, बेरोजगारी की समस्या है, लेकिन इसको हम एज इट इज मनरेगा को शहरी बेरोजगारी से नहीं दूर, क्योंकि शहरों की बेरोजगारी का स्वरूप भी अलग है और दूसरी बात यह है वहाँ पानी का जो है समस्या भी, तालाब खोदने की सोच भी नहीं सकता, इतनी जगह ही नहीं है शहरों में कि तालाब खोदा जा सके, तो ये नीति वहाँ सफल है। प्यारे बच्चों, इसके बाद तीसरी समस्या आती है फॉर होम गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज आर टू बी प्रोड्यूस्ड। दिस इज नथिंग बट प्रॉब्लम ऑफ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ लेसर प्रोडक्ट। इट्स अ चॉइस बिटवीन more of food crops and more of computers for the poor or to the richer people for whom we are going to produce. This is to be again decided and is an important part of problem of choice. So it has to be decided whether all should be given equal share all these decisions refer to distribution of national income and wealth of the society. Dear students, problem of distribution of resources can be solved. It depends on the nature, aim, and objective of the economy. You have to make a choice between profit versus welfare. You have to make a choice between present versus future. How do different types of economies solve these problems? There are three types of economies. In the last lecture, I have taught you in detail capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy. Let us see what is the relationship between the capitalism and sense of power. You can see there's a US flag. United States is considered as one of the most prosperous nations of a capitalist economy. First of all, resources allocation in a capitalist economy. You can see money, market, trade, savings, capital, dollars, earning, ownership. These are the things. Then everything what they want to do is just for the sake of profit. Profit, profit, profit. Capitalist economy is an economic system in which factors of production are privately owned and goods and services are produced with the objective of earning profit. In a capitalist economy, which is also considered as market oriented, there is no central authority to guide the choice of goods and services. So every individual is a producer, is a decision maker. The production is in the hands of individuals, farmers, manufacturers, producers, service providers, and others. The resources like land, labor, capital are owned privately by the people. All these individuals produce for the market and are guided by the motive of profit. They produce only those goods which are demanded by the consumer. How to produce in a capitalist economy? They try to produce the goods in the cheapest possible way so that they can earn maximum profit. Least cost and maximum profit. This is the motive of capitalism. These individual producers will try to move their resources away from producing things which people do not buy towards the production of goods and which people like to buy. Simply, resources are to be allocated and reallocated in such a manner to increase profit only. There is anything like profit for a capitalist economy. How to produce? Problem of choice. Naturally, which method is going to be produced? Every individual would like to produce only by such technology which is going to give the least cost combination or maximizing the profit. Whether it creates unemployment of labor or not, it creates employment of labor or not, they are least bothered about it. Their main target, their sole target, their only target will be to maximize their individual profit. Let us see the story of Rajan. Rajan is a businessman who produces shirts. Gradually, he realized that a lot of his shirts remain unsold. He is unable to sell those shirts. He also observed that young boys nowadays and girls are wearing t-shirts. They are least bothered about shirts. They are wearing t-shirts. These young people are willing to spend money now for t-shirts rather than shirts. So what will he do? Rajan, as a Result of it, Rajan's profit has started falling. So he decided to produce 3 t-shirts instead of shirts. As his resources are limited, no doubt, he diverts his resources from the production of shirt to t-shirts. Rajan now can produce the t-shirts by employing 2 sewing machines and all his 10 workers. If he does so, the t-shirt costs him ₹100. Similarly, option 2 is there before Rajan. He can produce 1 t-shirt by employing 5 machines and only 8 workers. This will cost him ₹125. There are 2 options. Now, naturally, he earns higher profit by now than what he was earning when he produces shirts. The young people who can afford to pay ₹100 are all wearing t-shirts produced by Rajan. What do we learn by this story? In a free economy, producers can choose what to produce and how to produce. He is also free to decide for whom to produce, as Rajan is able to maximize his profit by shifting his resources from shirts to t-shirts. Now, what is the benefit of society? Society also gets benefited as more competition among sellers increases the quality as well as decrease in price is formed. Since the important characteristics of a capitalist economic system is number 1, only those goods and services are produced which consumer wants. Maximum quantity of goods and services are produced at the minimum cost and price. Goods and services are produced for everyone who can make the payment for it. Then, for whom to produce? This question is also going to be solved automatically by the price mechanism. Only for those who are able to pay for the goods and services will be able to enjoy. Welfare activities actually will be at the voluntary wishes of the producer. Let us see what socialist economy does to solve their central problem of allocation of resources in a planned economy. Central planning authority of the government which decides what to produce and how to produce and for whom to produce. Everything is to be decided by the government. Nothing else. What to produce and in what quantity. Production target is given by the government to the firms, and these firms have to produce the goods for everyone, decided by the government. How to produce by socialist economy? As I gave you the example of Mahin case, welfare objective, they can even ignore least cost combinations, profit maximization stories. They are least bothered about these. For whom to produce goods and services are produced in a planned economy. Planning commission or authority would like to produce only such goods and services which can enhance the standard of living of the people. Only welfare, no profit motive as far as socialist economy is concerned. When we talk about for whom to produce by a socialist economy, we can say that in a planned system, the government wants everybody to be equal. They produce the goods which everyone needs and can be shared equally by the people. It is not that people who can afford can have more. At least in case of services like health and education, roads and housing, everyone should get equal opportunities, irrespective of their affordability. So, all citizens are equal in case of a socialist economy. Thus, in case of planned economy, the government decides to produce the goods and services which it thinks people should have and not what people think they should have. Government decides what people should have and not what people think that they should have. Thus, government produces goods and services to satisfy wants of the masses. Losses, they are ready to bear, no doubt. As the government determines the production of various goods and services, it is possible that the government produces more scooters and tractors, whereas the consumer demands cars. Regarding how to produce, the Central Planning Authority may not be able to calculate the cost of so many things, and there is a danger that resources are not allocated in an ideal manner. A socialist economy solves the central problem, whom to produce, on the basis of basic needs of the people like food, clothing, shelter, and short to be satisfied. Everyone treated alike and no one gets weighted on everyone. The system is based on principle of social welfare, not the profit. These two are the two sides of the same coin. Then how does a mixed economy solve the central problem? When we talk about mixed economy, India is the nation which is decided to adopt mixed economic system after its independence in 1947. Resources allocation in a mixed economy. In a mixed economic system, combines government planning as well as free market. So no economy in the world is totally centrally planned or totally central market oriented. Most of the economies today, they are falling in the category of mixed economy. When we talk about mixed economy, here you find on the one hand Niti Aayog is there, on the other hand price mechanism is there. So private sector works as to earn maximized profit and government sector works for maximizing. So in the mixed economic system, the choice of goods and services to be produced by the private sector depends on the basic of profit motive. The choice of goods and services to be produced by the government depends on the basis of needs and requirements of the people. It combines the efficiency of production with the justice of distribution. Justice of distribution we can see in a socialist economy, whereas efficiency is found in capitalist economy. So government owns scarce resources to produce goods and services that they think their country and people need. People and firms in the private sector also own resources with the aim of making much money as possible. Thus, mixed economic system attempts to combine the advantage of market economy system as well as advantage of planned economic system. For whom to produce, we can see private sector produces only for those who are able to, who can make the payment for, whereas public sector works for the benefit of masses. You can see Ujjwala Yojana, government has adopted a scheme to allocate free connections to all women of the rural area. So here we find joint venture also. As you can see, 50% share is of the government, 50% share is the private, and some where government public sector enterprises dominate the private sector enterprises. So no doubt at all, joint venture work for efficiency as well as humanity. One of the great economists, Professor Paul A. Samuelson, has used the production possibility curve to solve central problems. What is production possibility curve? It is nothing but maintaining the state of technology as constant. It is the loci means joining. By joining the different combinations of two different commodities that can be produced by the optimum utilization of resources. For example, if we employ the entire resource of an economy, we are able to produce 20 units of wheat. Wheat is the example of consumer item also. Or this economy can produce 0 bicycles. However, if it wants to increase the production of bicycle, it has to decrease the production of wheat. So, in order to increase production of X, it has to decrease the production of Y. Why? Because resources are scarce and they are having vaikalpik use. When we can draw this PPC also, suppose by employing all the resources, goods Y is produced for 100 units. In that case, 0 units of commodity X will be produced. Now, this is Y axis, this is X axis, and we can see when we produce 0 unit of X, 100 units of Y is produced. In order to increase the production of X by 1 unit, production of Y is to be decreased from 100 to 90. Then when we talk about third combination, if you want to produce 2 units of wood 1, wood X, you have to decrease the production of wood Y. So by combining all these points, the curve which we get by combining all these points is known as PPC. Now, what is the nature of PPC? We have to study. First of all, PPC is downward slope from left to right. Then PPC is concave to the origin. Any point on PPC shows perfect utilization of resources. Any point below PPC shows underutilization of resources. Rightward shift in PPC shows growth of resources. Leftward shift in PPC shows a setback situation of the economy. We will study one by one in detail. So, why PPC is called downward slope? Because it shows if you want to produce more of X, you have to decrease the production of Y. If you want to decrease the production of X, only then you can increase the production of Y. So, here we find inverse relationship between X and Y. That's why this is downward slope from left to right. Secondly, PPC is concave to the origin. It is because of applicability of law of increasing marginal rate of substitution. What does it mean? In order to increase the production of X, you have to lose more and more units of Y. Why? Because of discomfort of use of one resource. When you withdraw the use of a resource from one use to another, it becomes less productive. And because it becomes less productive, therefore, in order to produce an additional unit of X, you have to lose more and more of Y. So it is concave to the origin. This is the shape of concave to the origin, and IC indifference curve analysis is a convex to the origin. So basically difference is because of law of increasing or decreasing constant. So any point on PPC shows perfect utilization of resources. Why perfect? Because if you want to increase the production of X, you have to decrease the production of Y. Naturally, if you want to increase more of X, you have to decrease more of Y. So it is, that's why it is perfect. Now, point below PPC shows underutilization of resource. If you take any point below PPC, you can produce either more of X without decreasing Y, or you can increase more of Y without decreasing X, or you can produce more of X and Y both. So when you shift from your choice from point K to point D, L or M towards PPC, you can produce more of X without decreasing decreasing Y. You can produce more of Y without decreasing X, or you can produce a little bit more of both. So in all these things combinations, we find more production is available. That's why resources are underutilized if the combination of production is below PPC. So what does rightward shift in PPC show? Switching over to use the man-made resources, natural growth of resources, receiving foreign aid and grants, FDI portfolios. So as soon as you get more resource, you can produce more of both without decreasing any one of the commodities. Simply rightward shift in PPC shows the growth of resources. When we talk about leftward shift, it is just reverse of that. If due to tsunami or any natural calamity, your production possibility curve is leftward in size. It is because of natural calamities, man-made disasters, huge withdrawal of FDI and portfolio investments, heavy payments of foreign aid and grants. These are the things which are responsible for leftward shift in PPC. Now let us see how central problems of an economy are solved. What to produce and in what quantity. In this diagram you can see on the x-axis we have taken wheat, on the y-axis we have taken guns. During wartime, resources are diverted in such a way that more of guns are to be produced and less of wheat. So X2 is the production of wheat in wartime because resources are used to produce more of guns. When we talk about peacetime, we produce more of consumer goods. Then if we talk about a middle time, normalcy, during the period of normalcy, we divert our resources in such a way that to produce both the things in an optimum combination. Now, problem of fuller utilization of resources has been a challenge, but PPC can be used to solve this problem also. If all the resources in an economy are fully employed, then the quantity of one commodity can be increased only by foregoing some quantity of other. So we have to maintain our combination in such a way that they should remain on PPC, not below PPC. If it is below PPC, you can produce more. There is a scope of more production, but here you cannot reach. It is beyond your reach. So resources are optimally utilized only when they are on the PPC. The factors are not fully employed and the factor is below PPC, below the optimum capacity of the economy. Some of your family members or friends who are unemployed despite of education. Similarly, in our agricultural land, we still grow only one crop in a year. This is not a good sign as the resources are already scarce. If these scarce resources are not fully utilized, it is a waste of resource. Thus, it is the duty of economy to ensure the scarce resources do not remain unutilized or underutilized. Now, let us see PPC and growth of resources. If resources like labor, capital and technology grow over a period of time, the scarcity can be checked. Thus, for the growth of any economy, the resources available to the economy should grow, must grow. It is only through the effective growth of resources that a society can enjoy a higher standard of living. This is how the countries have developed. If the resources have failed to grow, the countries continue to be underdeveloped. Thus, the economy should make efforts to that their resources grow gradually to meet the growing needs of the people. Brief discussion on solving central problems. Basically, solution of central problems depends on the nature of the economy or by PPC. When we talk about nature of the economy, what to produce and in what quantity, in a capitalist economy, profitable goods and services will be produced only for capable consumers by using least cost combinations so that profit can be maximized. In a socialist economy, production of essential commodities for all, even by ignoring least cost combinations. When we talk about mixed economy, private sector as a capitalist country and public sector work as a socialist economy. How to produce? Capitalist country uses least cost combinations to get maximum profits. In a socialism, we find most significant for the mankind technology will be produced even by ignoring profit. No profit will be to be checked. When we talk about mixed economy like India, public sector produces by using welfare motive and private sector is governed by the profit motive. So this is to be checked here. For whom to produce? Again, only for those. Capitalists would like to produce only for those who can pay the price. In socialism, it is to be produced by everyone. And in mixed economy, private sector would produce for the capable persons and public sector will produce for the needed ones. They would like to ensure the availability of essential goods and services. Then central problems and PPC. If we talk about central problem and PPC, what to produce and in what quantity must be the combination on PPC. As I told you, any combination on PPC shows the optimal use of resources. When we talk about how to produce, problem of choice can be addressed by using PPC, must ensure the fuller utilization of available resources. Or if we take capital on x-axis and labor on y-axis, then uses of capital and labor can also be checked and solved by using PPC. For whom to produce, depending upon the need and requirement of the nation, production can be made. The issue of choice arises because number one, resources are scarce. Number two, they are having vaikalpik prayog. Then three fundamental economic problems are what to produce and in what quantity, how to produce and for whom to produce. Then capitalist economy is an economic system in which factors of production are made privately and then their aim of production is to maximize profit. They would least bother about the welfare motive. A mixed economic system combines government planning with the free market economy. For the growth of any economy, the resources available to the economy like labor, capital, technology should grow. This is an important point over here. How to ensure that resources are fully utilized? Only when we are on PPC, when if you want to produce one commodity, you have to decrease the production of other commodities. Thus, it is the duty of an economy to ensure that scarce resources do not remain unutilized and underutilized because they are already scarce. Let us discuss some questions also. Central problems of an economy arises because of number one, many goods and services are sold in the market, government make decisions, shortage of labor, multiplicity of wants and scarcity of resources. So, dear students, this fourth combination is going to be the ultimate combination for you. Choice is fundamental to economic behavior because people find it difficult to choose what they want. Resources are scarce in relation to people's wants. People behave rationally. Price of commodity depends on choice. Actually, the second one is the answer when choice is becomes fundamental behavior because resources are scarce and people wants are unlimited. Explain how scarcity and choice goes together. If there is no scarcity, no need for any choice. Simply, why it is said that free market economy ensures most efficient or allocation of resources? Because profit is their motive, individual profit is their motive, and to maximize profit, they do more research, inventions and innovations to reduce their cost of production. So that's why resources are best utilized in capitalist economy rather than in a planned economy. Explain the three central problems with one suitable example. I have given you the story of Mahin. Mahin's story contains all the three central problems. You can just go through this. धन्यवाद, आपका दिन शुभ हो, घर में रहे और स्वयं पढ़े. Thank you.